Scrappy Peeps, Suzanna here today to share with you this layout. This is the first in several layouts for the Scrappy Christmas in July project that I want to share with you. I am working with the Holiday Vibes collection from PinkFresh Studio. So I am gutting the outside of the page because those trees that are on the inside there, I want to use those on the actual layout. So I'm getting a lot of use out of one piece of paper. I am going to fussy cut a whole bunch of these trees, and I will just show you the one and then skip the rest. But what I wanted to show here was the importance of moving the paper as you open and close the scissors. You will get a much cleaner cut with that. I can't emphasize that enough. I do a lot of fussy cutting, and that is how I have the success that I have with the fussy cutting. So I also cut down a piece of white cardstock, and I think that's a 3/4 inch border all the way around, and I am going to use this stamp. It's from Concord and Ninth, and it's called the Polka Dot Turnabout stamp set. What's great about this stamp set is that you can stamp it 4 times and get a polka dot paper with different colors. I did not want that. I knew I wanted this to look like snow, and so I am going for more of the snow effect. You can see that there is a part of the stamp that I missed there, and you will also see in the remainder of this video that I am going to struggle long and hard with how I'm going to cover that up. Ultimately, I'm going to have to surrender, and I am going to find a fix for that. However, it takes me a while to get to that. The other thing you are going to see a fair amount of, so you're going to see some finger drumming, is that there's the finger drumming. I had originally intended for the snow, the falling snow, so that stamped snow, to go where it was on that left-hand side, as you can see. And part of what I struggle with is there's a design principle that with your photos, when you're scrapbooking, you do not want your photo looking off the page. So if it looks off the page, you want it to be on the left-hand side, looking across your title and or journaling and stuff before you get to the end of the page. Unfortunately, where I end up putting this photo, Belle is at the very corner of the page, and literally she kind of looks off the page, and that's where your eye gets guided. I am hoping that I was able to overcome this by all of the stuff and the busyness that is on the remainder of the page, that your eye is grabbed by that first, and then you see her, and then you're done with the layout. I don't know that it necessarily, it worked for me, but I would be interested in hearing what you saw when you first looked at this layout. So these photos are of our cat, Belle, on Christmas Day, and she is wearing both her Santa coat as well as her reindeer hat. This poor cat, if you follow my work, you will know that she's been subjected to numerous costumes, and that is why the title of this is Not Again, because once again, she is being subjected to these degrading, horrible costumes. So what I'm doing here is I am trying to draw your attention to these photos, and so I want to pop some contrasting color behind her. By using the green, I'm able to integrate all of the colors that are in this layout, as well as provide that contrast to her in the black cat or black and white cat in the red coat there. So the layers, that particular photo, the one where it leads your eye off the page, is of her on that's a glassine bag, and I am going to put a tag in there, and that is actually where the journaling will go, and it is there. You just don't see it. I don't have a string across it, the tag, because the tag is literally, it's kind of camouflaged underneath the title right there. I am also going to use a clear glassine bag. There is nothing nestled in the left-hand photo, and then I am going to use some paper layers from the 6x6 paper pad What I love about the 6x6 paper pads is that you have these smaller patterns, which when you do layer with photos allows you to see some of the finer detail of those patterns. So these are the trees that I have fussy cut. My intent is to stitch through them, and so I'm just laying them out where I want. I'm going to go upstairs and I am going to stitch them down, as well as stitch a white on white border around the edge there, and then just adhere that down. So you see that random pink tree floating there. I came back downstairs from having been upstairs where their sewing machine is, and I said to my son, I lost a tree. And he said, oh, you mean that pink one on the floor there? He was playing Xbox, and I was like, yes, dude, that one. Why didn't you tell me while I was upstairs? He's like, because I didn't want to get up. You know, God forbid that he even yell at me, because I was only one flight up. But it ended up working out well, because that mint green tree that's sitting lonely there by itself, by putting the pink tree, I am able to make it look like not such a lone stranger there. It is not stitched down, however, but that's okay. So I've committed to the placement of the trees and the photos. Now I have found a few of these strips in the 6x6 pad that I want to use. They are the perfect size. If I had used them from the 12x12 pad, they would have been much larger than I wanted. And so again, this is where the benefit of having the 6x6 pad comes in that they are much more manageably sized. They're kind of more like a label. So I go back and forth with where this is going to end up going. I wanted some of them to be on the right-hand side, but because I have that space to fill, but I also have that space to fill on the left-hand side. So here I have another stamp, and I use that stamp. It's kind of more of a larger snowflake per se. It's an asterisk to fill in that gap. That's what I end up doing. That's my solution to that, where those dots did not stamp as perfectly as I would have liked them to. That is what I end up going with. I have this stamp and die set from Kelly Perky, as well as her stamps that I showed on a recent Tuesday morning haul. I am going to use that again for some more layers underneath those tags that I just cut out. I have two various shades of green, kind of more of a Kelly green and then a little bit more of a olive green that I'm going to use because they go with the colors of the trees that are in the paper there, and I'm just going to layer that up in that top right hand corner, as well as in that cluster, that embellishment cluster that I'm working on right there, but I'm actually going to shift over to the left. My initial intent had been to actually journal to the left of the photos, but I didn't like the way that cluster ended up looking, and so you'll see that I shift it. So these are the embellishments that go with the Holiday Vibes collection. I had my eye on the house, and I also wanted a little bit of the gold. I didn't want a whole lot, just enough to kind of grab your attention. So that's where I didn't like the house split from that big red thing there, which kind of seemed to grab your attention. And so to mute that red, and it says spreading Christmas cheer, I put the house on it, and you can see how that kind of, it sets a little bit of a scene. You got your Christmas trees in the snow, that the house, that are sort of the backyard of the house there. So I have B for Belle. She's black and white, obviously, and there's a lot of weight in those photos. So I wanted to add a little bit of weight elsewhere in the layout, and that's why I liked that chipboard navy B, because it provides some balance in the weight of the layout there. It says Holiday Happenings. It's from the Puffy stickers, and I'm going to use that on the right hand side. I had not intended to have too many visual clusters. I thought that it was a little bit busy, but the busyness of the page, as I said earlier, is almost necessary in order to grab your attention to the busyness, so that you don't just move your eye off the page to see what it is that she's looking at there. I liked the way that all the little strips that I'm going to put here on the right hand side of that bottom photo kind of fill that white space that's in the photo there. So that's the top cluster. It says Holiday traditions, and then the bee, because it's a holiday tradition that this poor old cat is subjected to her various Christmas decorations or outfits. That's the perfect word there, outfits for her. And so really that ends up being, I just have a few more embellishments that I'm going to add to the page. And then I have that gold because I wanted a trio of gold that would work with the gold, the fine gold that's in the bee. And so I am going to put that on one of the Christmas trees, which kind of draws your eye to the Christmas trees there. And then I am working on the title here. So originally I had those green letters that you can see on the again there, and it looked absolutely horrible. I wanted more of that dark, but it was too dark and they didn't fit. So I'm just going to use tone on tone for the again, and then that way you still kind of have that white space that I wanted, but the title fits in there. And then I'm going to use these opaque gold word stickers, and the title is going to say not again. So you can see the title is there, and you can see it in the close-ups and you can see it in the layout, but it is not as distracting, thus allowing you to still have that white space. And for to provide a contrast to that gold so that it's not all just clustered up in the top right hand corner, I'm going to use the letters 2018 underneath. I do that a lot in my Christmas layouts, as I like to make the year very visible so that it just stands out. So that is the first of 4 layouts for Scrappy July and Christmas that I'm sharing with you. Enjoy the close-ups. I hope you are doing well, and if you're scrapping Christmas in July too, I'd love to see what it is that you've been working on. Thanks for stopping in today. Pop in again soon. Take care.